A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of News First Weekend, coming to you live from our News First studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Meeting between President Maithripala Sirisena and Indian Premier results in pledge to bolster economic relations. UNP electoral organisers chart that UNP leadership acts according to personal whims and fancies. Prime Minister Wickremesinghe and former President Rajapaksa meet in Colombo. Sri Lanka set to implement a new visa policy. China removes presidential term limits. Battle of the Blues ends in a draw.
Now the stories in detail. International Solar Alliance Summit was held at the Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi, India today. 121 delegates representing 45 countries are attending the summit. French President Emmanuel Macron arrived in India yesterday and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi welcomed him at the airport. President Maithripala Sirisena undertook a visit to India at the joint invitation of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron. President Sirisena was welcomed by Secretary West in the Indian Ministry of External Affairs. Addressing the summit, President Maithripala Sirisena expressed these views.
In Sri Lanka, we have already commenced a program called Surya Bala Sangramaya, that is a battle of solar power. Through this project, we expect to generate 1,000 megawatts of electricity by 2025. We are also in the process of developing 1 megawatt to 10 megawatts capacity solar power system to assist small and medium level industries. This will benefit several homes, schools, hospitals, infrastructure and government facilities in my country. Let me assure Sri Lanka's a strong commitment to support this alliance, and I am confident that this meeting will showcase the power of the countries in this alliance to bring about solutions to create a greener, cleaner and healthy environment for people of this world.
After attending the ISA, President Sirisena met with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. During this meeting, Prime Minister Modi had recalled that during the past few years, the relations between the two countries were further strengthened and had pointed out that in future it is important to strengthen these bilateral relations between the two countries economically as well. Later, the President met with Erik Solheim, the Executive Director of the United Nations Environment Programme. During this meeting, issues relating to the environmental conservation, weather and climate change and marine pollution were discussed, and the President praised the specially designed program to protect the environment of Sri Lanka. President Maithripala Sirisena also attended a special dinner hosted at the official residence of Indian President Ram Nath Kovind last night. A boat capsized in the Periykulam River in the Nilaveli area in Trincomalee, killing 1 adult and 4 children.
3 families who had arrived near the Periykulam River for puja this morning were the victims of the accident. They had set off into the river to pluck lotus leaves. 42-year-old Dharmalingam Sangadure was killed in the incident along with his 9-year-old daughter. Dharmalingam was a bus driver by profession. 2 brothers from another family, 9-year-old Suresh Kesaraj and 7-year-old Suresh Udeshan, were also killed in the accident. Another victim in the incident was 7-year-old Sugandhan Kunavi. The 4 children were students of the Nilaveli Roman Catholic College.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and former President Mahinda Rajapaksa attended an event organized by the Chamber of Young Lankan Entrepreneurs in Colombo yesterday. Here are some visuals of the event.
anniversary celebrations of COIL. And COIL has always been known for its strong patriotism and for embracing. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly rise for the national anthem.
Electorate organisers of the UNP charge that the UNP leadership has acted according to their whims and fancies when appointing representatives for local government bodies.
The leaders of the UNP have treated me unfairly. Do we exist only to distribute your leaflets, bring crowds into Colombo and to erect stages and decorations? I asked this question from our party leader. None of my candidates have been appointed. They make appointments according to their whims. Chairman Minister Malik Samaravikrama, how can you appoint people? The chairman of the party is appointing people for my electorate. Other secretaries have also appointed various people. I don't know the people on my own list.
The party chairman has removed my name and has affected the 17th, 20th and 9th placed persons. I am in the 7th place, but I have been removed. The Minister of Education should take responsibility for this. You have taken steps to destroy my political career. Stop destroying the party. The Prime Minister should hold a disciplinary inquiry against those responsible and throw them out of the party. Or else, where will this party end up? This is how the party has become cursed. This is how our district leaders were chased out of the party. At such a time when we have lost, is this what you do?
To the leaders of the party, I have one thing to say. Reinstate the list produced by our leader and rectify this mistake. If we leave this party, there are many people who will leave with us. If you don't consider about us, then we will have to reconsider where we stand.
These seats cannot be auctioned off. It is because of such actions that our party supporters had to suffer for 22 years. This cannot be sold. They are meant for the innocent people of this area. If this does not happen, they will have to go back to ensuring another 22 years of defeat.
The National Freedom Front convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
Who had the need to do something of this nature? You know that there was supposed to be a no-confidence motion against the Prime Minister. Who benefits after such a racial clash? The government. That is why the government kept the police silent and stopped them from intervening too much. Back then, UNP governments with people like Cyril Matthews launched attacks against Tamil establishment. This situation was created artificially with groups brought in from outside. As Vasudeva Nanayakkara revealed in Parliament, you would have better luck if you ask partly Champika Ranawaka who Mahasona is. According to my knowledge, the only fair, thin, tall MP from Colombo who wears a national suit is Champika Ranawaka. He failed. The incidents in Kandy transpired when he was the Minister of Law and Order. Even government ministers said that the police did not act. There is no point in the Prime Minister wandering among the destroyed rubble and promising to pay compensation. This could have been stopped before it started.
Chairman of the Podujana Peramuna, Professor G.L. Pires, and the parliamentarian Jahan Semasinger expressed the following views to the media after engaging in religious activities at the Jayanti Vihare in Anuradhapura.
If you think for a moment about the things that happened in the recent past, Anand Alud Gamage, a UNP parliamentarian, sleeps on the road. He does not have the ability to resolve a small issue that has arisen regarding his government and the police by himself. He is showing in protest by sleeping on the road. Another UNP MP, Mujibur Rahman, is saying that this government is not doing anything and that he is ashamed to be a part of this government. These ideas are coming from within the government. Who is paying for these? The people of the country are paying.
If the parliamentarians of the ruling party cannot fulfill the aspirations of the people through the government, how will the general public achieve their aspirations through the government? That is the question we have. On the other hand, Anand Alutgamge is thinking Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe only acts when Malik Samaravikrama says something. To show his helplessness, he is sleeping on the road.
General Secretary of the United People's Freedom Alliance, Minister Mahinda Amaraveera, says that ministers lie to the public.
When will a cabinet reshuffle take place?
It will happen in the near future. The president is currently overseas. It will happen upon his return.
The Prime Minister is to travel overseas. Will that delay this further?
No, that won't be a problem to us. We only need the president.
The joint opposition accuses that the country is going from bad to worse and that nothing positive happens. Can the country move forward in 2 years with a mere cabinet reshuffle?
They must say things like that. What else can they say? When one is in the opposition, one must say the ruling government is not good, that it is unsuitable and it cannot move forward. They cannot move forward if they don't say it. They must say things like that in order to topple the government. But the people of the country are aware of what needs to happen.
When such false statements are spread all over the country, won't the people think otherwise?
It is the media that spreads their views. It is the media that gives validity to these lies that politicians say, and they report it to the people as news on TV and on newspapers.
Does that mean you accept that ministers and MPs lie to the public?
Everybody knows that ministers and MPs lie. Though everything they say may not be lies, they say a considerable amount of lies. This happens especially when you are in the opposition. People listen to these lies and respond.
Welcome back. This is Primetime News at 9. I'm Ramesh Rugal Bandara joining you from the News First newsroom. Now, as you are aware, the Central Expressway, the plans for the Central Expressway are currently underway to be built under 3 stages. Now, we are here today to talk especially about the third phase of the Central Expressway, which has drawn a lot of media attention and a lot of controversy. Now, this third phase of the Central Expressway has drawn a lot of controversy because of the manner in which funds are being obtained for this third phase, as well as the company that this third phase has been given to. Now, earlier this week, we reported on the company that the contract has been awarded to, which is Taisei. We reported that an individual from Taisei has been arrested. This has been picked up by the Sunday Times today as well. Let's take a look at that report first. Central Expressway bid winner Taisei official arrested for rigging in Japan. This article says that an official from Taisei was arrested for bid rigging in Japan in connection to a train station on the maglev line in Japan in the Nagoya area. Now, the minister in charge in Japan has gone to the extent of saying that they're even considering disregarding Taisei and other companies involved in this bid rigging system from future contracts being offered by the state. So it's a possibility where Japan will no longer award any state contracts to Taisei and other companies involved in this bid rigging. It is in this backdrop that we talk to you about the Central Expressway, which will be built by Taisei. Now, the cabinet has approved the contract being awarded to Taisei. The cabinet has approved obtaining money from a private bank in Japan for a very high interest rate. Now, the question is, why? Why does the government of Sri Lanka continue to go ahead with a company which has a sterling reputation in its own country with regard to one of our most expensive road projects? Why does the CCEM, or the Cabinet Committee on Economic Management, led by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, and the subject minister insist on awarding this contract to Taisei, which the bid was initially rejected? The bid submitted by Taisei for this project was initially rejected. So why do they insist on awarding these contracts to such a company? Now, this is not by any chance the first instance where Taisei has been caught with the hand in the cookie jar. Taisei was fined millions of dollars back in 2017 for a similar incident of bid rigging. So, why do we continue to place our trust in such a company? Why not start afresh and do the entire tender process in a fresh way where all the doubts can be cleared? Because there have been a lot of doubts about phase 3 of this Central Expressway. Why not find some other way to fund this stage 3 of the Central Expressway other than taking a loan out of the Tokyo Mitsubishi Bank for a very high interest rate? Now what they're taking is $1 billion for this project. So why not find a better way to do it at a lower interest rate? Why are they constructing this in such a hurry with money obtained through a private bank? Is it because they love the country so much and they want to bring development at a faster pace? Or is it because they want something to put their name on when election season comes along? Or is it because they want to line their own pockets with something of this magnitude? Because $1 billion is just the tip of the iceberg for this project, as you will find on later on in the news bulletin. Now, don't get us wrong. We are not against expressways. We are just against convoluted processes and departures from civilized procedure which has been set up to eliminate corruption and fraud and malpractices. Now, as I said earlier, this project to construct the Central Expressway has been approved by the cabinet. But the question is, who will be in charge of this Central Expressway right now? Because there is an issue. This program for the Central Expressway was spearheaded by one individual, Minister Lakshman Kiriyalla, the former Minister of Higher Education and Highways. Now, with the cabinet reshuffle coming in, his portfolio has changed. Minister Kabir Hashim has taken over the Ministry of Higher Education and Highways. And the question is, who will get the Central Expressway? Because logically, it should come under Minister Kabir Hashim. But we know that Minister Lakshman Kiriyalla has been given a portfolio by the name of Kandy Development, and there are rumors and rumblings that Minister Kiriyalla will be getting the Central Expressway project as well under this Kandy Development portfolio. Now, according to the sources that we have, the Gazette, which details the duties of each minister and each ministry, is yet to be put out. So, at the moment, we do not know under which ministry the Central Expressway project will be brought under. Now, since we were talking about the cabinet reshuffles, let's focus a bit more on that as well. Why did the cabinet reshuffle took place? Why did this cosmetic facade come on of the government? It is because they lost the local government election. Why did they lose the local government election? Well, I have come before you and told you this. It can be summarized in 3 words: inaction and broken promises. Inaction and broken promises. These are the 3 words that signify or can conclude or summarize the entire actions of this government. And some can say the demise or the challenges that the government is facing are their own creation. Now, back in 2015, the people of this country voted for the government of good governance, so that because they wanted a change, because they wanted the rogues and the culprits of previous administrations to be put out. And then, what happened? What happened is history. When the 2018 local government election came around, the people were not that happy with the performance of the good governance government, and they wanted to show their anger. That is why they voted against the government. And who did they vote for? They voted for the same people that they voted to kick out of power back in 2015. So, the challenges and the demise of this government is of their own creation. Now, we know that we stepped on many toes when we spoke about the central bank bond scam, when we spoke about the Central Expressway, but our efforts as the media has always been to create awareness among the general public, and all what we have done is for the sake of the general public. Let's take a look at this screen. This shows you 3 individuals. 2 sins of the past and 1 sin that is currently plaguing the present government. Let's start off with this corner. Former governor of the central bank, Arjuna Mahendran. Now, the officials are searching for Arjun Mahendran so that they can serve notice on him to get him to appear in court in connection to the bond scam. And the officials are unable to find him. Earlier, when Arjun Mahendran went abroad, his best friend, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, came out in Parliament and said, yes, he told me and he went to another country to attend a wedding. But now we don't see the Prime Minister stepping forward to find Arjun Mahendran when the courts want him to appear in front of them. Then on to the next, Jalia Wickramasuriya, former Sri Lankan ambassador to the United States of America. He was arrested in connection to an alleged fraud that took place when purchasing a building for the Sri Lankan embassy in Washington, D.C. And then he was released on bail. He was released on bail so that he could travel to the United States for a period of 3 months so that he could seek medical attention. Well, that 3 months has long since expired and Jalia is not in the country. Udayanga Weeratunga, former Sri Lankan ambassador to Russia. Now, Udayanga was in the media quite prominently over the past couple of weeks, especially during the campaign trail for the local government elections. We remember a minister going to his electorate in Mathura and proudly saying, yes, we have captured him. But it's about a month since the local government elections concluded and Udayanga is still not in our custody. He is still at large. So, in all this, the government has forgotten one very important thing. That is, the very people that put them where they are, the very people who elected them to power. They have forgotten the farmers of this country who are struggling without fertilizer and water. They have forgotten the laborers of this country who are fighting to put a meal in front of their children. They have forgotten the people who elected them to power. So, again, the question is why? Why is this happening? And now, this.
The Sunday Times reports today that an Indian government-owned engineering consultancy company has won, without tender, a contract to carry out a feasibility study. The study is centered around road improvement projects in Katugastota and Galagedara in the Kandy district. According to the report filed in the Sunday Times, there were acknowledgements that the Central Expressway project will lead to much greater congestion in Kandy, something the city and its access roads are not geared for. The Exim Bank of India has consented to provide funds for the feasibility study. Lakshman Kiriyalla, before he lost the highways portfolio to Kabir Hashim, had made the original decision to appoint the Indian company Rights Limited to make a comprehensive project report on the road activities. The cabinet has now approved this, enjoying the concurrence of current Minister of Highways Kabir Hashim. No tender has been called to award the consultancy. A source from the Prime Minister's office said, quote, "It's from the Indian credit line, so we are not calling tenders," unquote. However, Indian Exim Bank rules published online facilitate the soliciting of bids provided they are from authorized Indian companies. The operational guidelines state the leading bank will invite expression of interest from Indian companies, entities and undertake a pre-qualification exercise for each project at its cost. The list of pre-qualified companies, entities will be provided to the borrowing government. Thereafter, the project will be put to bid under a competitive bidding process by the borrowing government agency. The document says complete transparency and fairness in the award of the contracts by borrowing government to Indian companies under lines of credit is extremely critical. Although the Exim Bank of India expects transparency from borrowing governments, the Sri Lankan government have not called for competitive bids for the consultancy work.
Also in local news, Sri Lanka is set to implement a new visa policy with effect from April this year. Speaking to the Sunday Times, Immigration and Immigration Controller General S. Ranasinghe elaborated on the new policy, which is expected to be rolled out under 3 stages from the 2nd of April.
Under the new visa policies, Sri Lankans who have obtained citizenship in other countries will be able to obtain a lifetime permanent resident visa in Sri Lanka for $1,500 with permission to work. The conditions regarding employment is expected to be announced soon. The new visa policy rewards foreign investors with resident visas. Those bringing in investments of at least $500,000 would be offered a 10-year resident visa, while those making an investment of $300,000 would be able to obtain a 5-year resident visa. In a bid to attract more tourists to the country, online visa regulations will be relaxed by extending the 1-month visa to 3 months for citizens of 28 countries on additional payment of $100. The visa fee of other countries is to be reduced to $60. On the flip side, the penalty of overstaying visas have been increased. Those overstaying visas for more than 1 day will be charged $500. At present, those who overstay their visas for more than a month are imposed a fine of $25, while those who overstay for more than 2 months are required to pay $50. Student visas have also been relaxed and will now be issued for the full duration of the course instead of getting the visa extended periodically.
A ceremony to celebrate International Women's Day that was held on the 8th of March took place in Colombo today. The event was organized by the Tourism Study Programs Department of Economics and the University of Colombo.
In the school curriculum, we teach numeracy and literacy. But do we teach how to empathize and how to understand a humanity? No, we don't. Do we teach values? We don't. There's no space in the school curriculum for that, because there's no point in us winning the entire world and being very successful economically or otherwise if we do not have a heart to reach out and think of the other person and to share compassion and love. If we cannot empathize, then we have failed.
It's a moral duty to improve the position of women and girls all around the world, because women's rights are human rights and need to be guaranteed everywhere in the world. And despite the fact that almost all countries, including Sri Lanka, are party to the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women, many women still face violation of their rights. We see participation and decision-making power of women as an important step towards solving the challenges in the world.
An event in memory of former Ambassador of Mauritius, Deshabandhu Devanayagam Pillai Ishwaran, was held in Colombo today.
The event was organised in memory of late Devanayagam Pillai Iswaran, Mrs. Sidambarat Thammal and VTV Devanayagam Pillai. Indian artist Ravirajana Resi performed a bhajan during the event.
I can see the qualities of my father in you. His biggest assets were his friends and loved ones. You were very dear to my father. I hope you will continue your cooperation.
And in sports news, the 139th Battle of the Blues between Royal College Colombo and St. Thomas's College Mount Lavinia ended in a draw today. Chasing 216 for victory, the Royalists were on 143 for the loss of 6 wickets when play was stopped due to bad light.
The 3-day match being played at SSC in Colombo saw St. Thomas's College declaring after scoring 166 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in their first innings. In reply, Royal College were bundled out for 178 runs yesterday. Commencing the third day of the match, the Thomians were on 3 runs for no loss in their second innings. Dulit Gunawardena scored 59 runs. Shalin Dimel and Sitara Hapuhinna scored 57 and 47 runs respectively. The Thomians declared their second innings after scoring 227 for the loss of 6 wickets, setting a target of 216 runs for Royal College. Royalist Kavindu Madarasinghe was unbeaten on 58 runs. When play was stopped due to bad light, the Royalists were on 143 runs for the loss of 6 wickets.
That's a look at Primetime News for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.